Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Do, 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 do. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, whoever, wherever, whenever you are, why ever you're here, whatever you're doing. Denise Matteau here. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Mark Parker at the House of Wool. That's one of his stream series. He's a prominent member of Paul Vanderklay's circle around the Estuary and the TLC. He's been promoted heavily by Paul Vanderklay as a fundraiser for the Living Stones Church in Sacramento. He's in his latest House of Woo stream. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I cut to the point where I said, yeah, I got to say something. He wants to understand what's going on. I'm here to help. I'm a generous person. I'm here to help. Mark Parker doesn't go to church according to the dialogue between him and some of the other TLC. TLC are mostly a mixed group of Christian and Christian adjacent personalities, many of whom are strongly concerned about civilized culture connected to church life. They are, oh, I'm sorry about that noise. There are so many things in here that I think I turned off and I didn't. Oh, well. Anyway, as I was saying, TLC, this little corner is what it stands for. The group of channels that are, like I said, Christian adjacent, they're involved with the concepts of church life merging with civil life, not political, but civil, how we all get along, help each other out, keep civilization, make civilization great again. And I don't mean to imply a certain way, but just in general. And Mark Parker is against a lot of that because he does things like he's been posting stuff like George Floyd. He wants us to revive the George Floyd riots. And where I cut off from listening to his House of Woo to put my face on the screen and spit my 2 cents out there is where he says he wished there were more of the Black church community coming into the TLC. He doesn't understand why they don't. Well, the first thing they're going to see is that the fundraiser for a middle-class white church in Sacramento promotes George Floyd. And if you had any contact at all with Black folks outside of the Democrat welfare line, and I don't mean that Black folks are all on welfare. I'm talking about the political Democrats who are getting millions of dollars in non-profit grant kind of welfare. Not the woman trying to feed her kids on food stamps. You know who I'm talking about, Mark Parker. The people who pushed George Floyd, who was seen in the Black community as a thug. And yeah, people were upset about what happened to him. But to make him into the hero, I want to tell you something. The first thing that happened when people finally were able to put the kibosh to the white Mark Parker style pushers of the George Floyd riots, the Black communities where the white Democrat grant funded mural artists put up those murals of George Floyd. First thing Black folks did was take them down. There were videos of it. I think there might still be some in YouTube, although YouTube has been pretty much expunging a lot of the conservative stuff. But if Mark Parker wants more Black people in the TLC, maybe he ought to go out and actually talk to some Black churches. Talk to some regular Black folks. Do the YouTube journalist thing. I swear, I challenge you, Mark Parker, to do this. take your cell phone, walk into a working class, mixed race, or black neighborhood. You should be fine. It's actually in many ways safer to go there than some white neighborhoods. Walk along. Don't wear any political nothing. No George Floyd badges. No red baseball hats. Nothing. I mean, do wear something, obviously. But be neutral, okay? And just neutrally ask. Ask random black people, working class looking types, sober ones, which there are a lot. Go out to your Walmart, go out to these different neighborhoods, and just say, I'm making a video. We just want to know, what do you think of, I don't know how to phrase it, but find a neutral way to phrase it. I would just like to know what you think of the politics that happened around George Floyd and what's going on today. Or maybe don't even mention George Floyd. Just say, what do you think of what Trump is doing? You know, a neutral, what do you think of what Trump is doing? And then maybe find some other questions like, what do you think of what Obama did? Of what Biden did? Just throw it out neutrally. I mean, it's going to be hard for you, Parker, because you are really big on flexing your revolutionary liberation muscles. But if you can be neutral, go out there and do it and see what kind of answers you get. And the reason I'm telling you to be neutral is not to affect your answers, but for your own damn safety. Because if you go out there signaling that you're a white boy supporting George Floyd riots and wanting to bring them back, well then, yeah, the hood might turn into the hood. You might find right quick the black community is not going into liberal white spaces like TLC, because the black community is fed up with liberal white Christians. Oh yeah, I'll put a hymn up on my feed. I don't go to church. And I think politics are more important than anything Jesus ever said, except where I can twist it and make it look like he was telling us to abandon our own children and destroy our own families in favor of a tattooed gang member from another country. If Mark Parker knew anything at all about the history he speaks about, he speaks of the Wesleyan tradition in Christianity, which gave rise to a lot of Christian social charity movements. Well, back in the day, a Christian mission house served people in emergency situations and helped them get to work. They did not put them in hotels for 2 or 3 years and they didn't give them financial paychecks bigger than what American black folks get when they apply for benefits. American black family knows darn well, Mark Parker, they're going to apply for benefits. Number one, they're going to jump through 5,000 hoops to get there. Number two, when they get there, they're barely going to have enough to get by. Your average SSI check is less than $1,000 a month. SSI is not the same as Social Security. SSI not only is less than Social Security, but the person who's on it has to prove that they are poor and they have to stay poor. And black folks know that. If they get on SSI and it gives them enough of a boost to get ahead, and they get their bills paid and maybe they get a down payment for a car, the first thing that happens is one of those fine white socialist social workers puts them on a list to be double checked and investigated for hiding income. And I know about this because one of the things that I do in life as my Christian ministry, which is what I do, I don't do a church ministry. As a Catholic, I just live my life. But part of living my life is some real assistance with real individuals who have reached adulthood without ever learning how to budget supply a food pantry. And I'm speaking about the food pantry inside your house for your own family. I have helped families learn how to do that because even though they get handed food stamps, they don't get handed any help. And if you try to help them through a white liberal church pantry like what Mark Parker would want to see happen in a one of these liberal political groups, you get told, no, you do not have the right to tell a young black mother or a young black father how to avoid having to run out of money because you've been buying boxes of chicken McNuggets or the frozen, supermarket variety of McNuggets and cans of Chef Boyardee or whatever the kids are fed today, processed foods. I've seen people pay over $100 for something that wouldn't last a week for 2 or 3 people, and it's all junk. And you do have to teach the system of buying certain foods in bulk and cooking certain foods in a certain way so that you have everything you need for the month and you have food stamps left over, and then how to use those food stamps as a savings account. Now, black folks know they're under a microscope. And if the word gets out to people like Mark Parker or Calvinists like Paul Vanderklay, that some black families are pooling their food stamp extra, they're building supplies of extra stuff because they learned how to budget, it's illegal. It is. It's actually breaking the law. You are not supposed to share or pool or do anything to work together within your black community to better yourself. So they're taught right away, the only way you're going to do this is to break the law. So this reinforces gang culture. And the black community is fed up with it because we all see hotels being given to illegal migrants while black people are actually shoved into the street, as well as white homeless. Black Americans are fed up, Mark Parker. That's why you're not going to see him anywhere near the TLC for very easily. And you need to go out into the black community and meet some and ask them what they think of people like you pushing George Floyd. And people like you saying we ought to go out and shoot the National Guard in Washington, D.C. You put that up there. That wasn't your video. The guy that does all kinds of deranged Democrat propaganda crap, violent propaganda. You put it up. It's in your community page. It's still there. I'm sending people to your channel to go look for it. And now, okay, your stream is all about how, well, you're going to sanitize that channel. You're going to put all that stuff in this other back pocket channel so that you can, kind of raise the value or raise the skill level of your hypocrisy while you put these, the stuff you put up as music is cringe, really. When we put it next to the fact that you're totally insincere about your so-called faith, you're all about money, you're all about violence. You think Jesus told people to go out and be violent in the streets. You don't think Christians are supposed to look after their own children Well, I want to tell you something Jesus said that nobody seems to remember. It's in there somewhere in the Gospels. I'm a chicken soup Christian because I know it's in the soup somewhere. I don't know chapter and verse, but somewhere. And I guess if you got a Strong's Concordance, you'll find it. Jesus said, "What kind of person hands his son a stone when his own child asks for bread? What kind of person hands that child a stone?" Mark Parker kind of Christian. That's who does it. That's what the American white liberal pieces of crap running this country have been doing for years. And the black community, and I speak from knowing the black community very well. I have black relatives. Out here in Texas, they call my people coon-ass. You know what that means, don't you? Oh, it's them racist. No, I want to tell you something. You white California socialist POSs are far more racist, and the black community knows it, and they're fed up. And that's why you don't see too many blacks in the TLC any more than you see very many Latin Rite Catholics. And I'm not sure you actually see very many actual Orthodox either. You see these ortho bro converts. But in reality, it's the hypocrisy. It's the fact that you think that Marxism, that racial identity violence, has anything at all to do with Christian morality and ethics. And you can lie all you want. Paul Vanderklay can lie all he wants. He's got people saying he's not an organizer of the Estuary. That's the true mark of a cult right there. When the organizer is just another guy, just humble. Right. It's obvious that Paul Vanderklay has promoted you, Mark Parker, as a fundraiser for a bricks and mortar church that he can use to appear as a legitimate pastor to the outside world, while he promotes you with one hand and street violence with one hand and kick cult troll anarchist Grim Grizz with the other hand. And you and Grim Grizz can play act like you're on opposite sides of the politics. And it's straight out of that book that Hillary Clinton liked so much, Saul Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals. I need to get a copy of that book so I can start pointing people to exactly which paragraph on which page you're using. God bless some, have mercy on some, and to hell with the rest. One thing I do believe for sure about heaven and hell is that nobody goes to hell by accident. The only people who end up in hell have been given 100,000 chances to turn around before they got there. Denise Matteau, over and out.